When the European settlers started to move west, across the Mississippi, they came across their first prairie. And they sent out some scouts, and this first scout, he saw the prairie, and because there were no trees, he thought it was a horrible barren land. He didn't have an appreciation for the wild grasses and the flowers growing there. We're going to say he wasn't a kindred spirit. The second scout that came out saw the beautiful flowers, and he appreciated it and saw what a wonderful place this prairie was. And some of the grasses that he saw there across this prairie were big bluestem, little bluestem, switchgrass, and Indian grass. The prairie used to cover 142 million acres across 14 states, from the Mississippi to the Rocky Mountains, from Texas to Canada. Sadly, most of that prairie is gone now, but we've learned to appreciate what we have, and we're trying to restore what we have. The prairie grass back then was so thick that they say a rider on horseback could be hidden in the grasses. It was so thick. Hey, I'm the Iowa Prairie Girl. Today I'm coming to you from my prairie, and I have some beautiful Indian grass growing here, and I'd love to share it with you. So if you stick around, we're going to take a closer look at Indian grass. Native perennial grows to be about 3 to 7 feet tall. It's a very erect plant, and it's called a clump grass or a bunch grass, meaning that it'll grow kind of in a bunch or in a clump. It does make the prairie a little bit difficult to walk in because you have all these clumps to walk around. It doesn't grow like a sod or like your yard grass. It likes the sun. It will grow in some part shade, but mostly it likes out the open prairie. It might grow in some open woods, but mostly it likes to be out in the open. And it does tolerate a lot of different types of soil. It's the second week in September here in Iowa. I'm in North Iowa, Saragota County. I am on my own land. And this is when prairie grasses start to bloom. The big bluestem is blooming. The little bluestem on my land is already gone to seed. And we have Indian grass here, which blooms in August and September. And it's, like I said, it's the second week in September, and it's blooming, and it's just beautiful. Earlier in the summer, this grass will be a blue-greenish color, and then towards late summer, it turns a golden yellow, almost to a chestnut color. And as it blows in the wind and as the sun is shining on it, it's just an absolute beautiful grass to have around. So here we have the flowers or the bloom of the Indian grass. And actually, to talk about the flower, the inflorescence of Indian grass is quite complicated, so I'm not going to give a lot of information here because it's got a lot of different terms that I'm not even aware of. But as you can see, it has this beautiful chestnut color brown to it. The plume is long and narrow. It branches out. It has these yellow stamens that are bright yellow. And then it also has some other parts to it that are white and hairy looking. So it's just a real shiny, beautiful bloom. And you catch this when it's blooming in your prairie, or if you're out for a walk in the prairie and you see Indian grass and the sun is shining on it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Interesting, these do close at night, just like other flowers. This is a flower, and they do close at night and then open back up during the daytime. So you can see you have a lot of different spikelets, different beautiful colors, and as the sun catches them, very eye-catching. The tiny seeds of the Indian grass will get blown in the wind, and the plants will cross-pollinate, or the seeds might just drop to the ground as well. Most of the time the plant will stay erect. Every once in a while, if it's in moist soil or if it gets a little too heavy, it will start to droop, and then the seeds will drop that way as well. The plant usually spreads by seed. It does have very deep roots. The roots are between 6 to 12 feet deep, and the plant might also spread by some rhizomes. The culm of the plant, and culm is C-U-L-M, that is the stem. It's an erect plant. It stands straight up. The stem or the culm is hollow and hairless, and it doesn't branch off. It just goes straight up, and then you have the flowering top on it. The leaves get to be about 2 feet long, and they're kind of in the early summer, they're a blue-green color. They're kind of rough textured. And then as it turns fall, they start to turn into kind of a orangish, yellow kind of color, or almost kind of a tan color. So they start to change color. Now, one way to identify your Indian grass, once it blooms, you're going to be able to identify it. But before it blooms, the difference between Indian grass and a big blue stem is the way the leaf connects to the stem. And this is the sheath of the Indian grass, and how you can see how it connects there to the stem. They call that a rifle sight, or they also call it a hammer claw. But that's just how you can identify this from big blue stem before the plants start to bloom, is how the leaf connects to the stem there. There's a lot of other names for this plant. One other name for it is golden feather grass, and then a lot of people refer to it as yellow Indian grass. Now, why is it called Indian grass? This plant was used a lot by the Native Americans. They used it for weaving. They could actually make homes out of it because it was so dense and so prolific. Used it for making mats or baskets, so a lot of uses for that. Also, as I mentioned before, the grasses used to be so thick that you could hide in it. Mine isn't that thick. Obviously, you can see me quite easily. But back in the day, the prairie grasses and the Indian grass and the big blue stem were so thick that you could stand in it, and someone would walk by you and they couldn't see you. So I wonder if sometimes if that's not why. I believe that the Native American braves, when they would hunt for buffalo, they could sneak through the prairie grass and sneak up on the buffalo, as well as I'm sure during war times you could get through the prairie quite easily through the prairie grass and not be seen. This plant is a terrific plant to have around, whether you're looking for an ornamental grass to put in your flower garden or whether you're restoring or preserving a prairie. Animals love it. It attracts grasshoppers and other insects. It's a host plant to several different types of skipper butterflies. And also when we have those insects coming in, like grasshoppers and such, that attracts songbirds. And so the songbirds come in and they're able to feed off those insects. It also drops the seeds, and songbirds and upland game birds will eat the seeds. And it also provides terrific nesting for ringneck pheasants. And if we had a whole lot of them, bobwhites or prairie chickens, maybe not so much in Iowa, but maybe down in Missouri, it provides habitat for those game birds. It's also a great grass to have around if you want to provide habitat. It's called a security cover, so it provides cover for animals like deer, especially a doe in the springtime when she's fawning. She can hide her fawn in the tall grass. It provides cover for birds, nesting material, and then as it stays upright during the wintertime, it also still provides cover during the wintertime for pheasants and other birds that might be in the prairie. As well as small rodents will eat the seeds and use the material for cover as well. If you want to learn more about tall grasses and some of the uses, please check out my big blue stem video. I cover a lot more about how the prairie grasses were used for homes, how the early settlers had to go through the prairies, and how this terrific grasses that covered the prairies were great for the cattle, and as well as how it made the land so fertile. So hey, this is the Iowa Prairie Girl. I'm coming to you from Saragordo County in September amongst my Indian prairie grass. It's just a beautiful, bright, distinct golden flower, and it's just a beautiful plant to be able to walk amongst. I thank you for watching my video. I hope that you learned something. And as always, I hope that you get a chance to get out in the nature, get out in the prairie, the woods, the lake, the rivers, wherever. And when you're out there, I hope you see something wonderful. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thanks for watching.